Terry's fist slammed against the oak table. Dad, we need another $2,000 this month. Enough, I said. You're 28, Terry. It's time to learn to provide for your wife yourself. You're being selfish. Mom would have understood us. She would have helped. The mention of Martha struck me hard. I pushed my chair back, tired of the familiar script. I've given you $1,200 this month alone, I stated. I won't enable this anymore. Upstairs, I looked at Martha's photograph. Terry's emergencies had cost me $47,000 since her funeral. I remembered her last words. Teach him to fly on his own, Ray. Don't let him live in our shadow forever. The next morning, I stood in my work clothes. Terry and Zella appeared, looking disheveled and guilty. I'm going out today, Terry mumbled. Job interviews. Take the house key, I said quietly, the implication hanging in the air. As he reached for the door, I stopped him. Terry, responsibility. It's not a dirty word. He left without a word, slamming the door. I returned home from work later that day. Terry's voice was animated. Dad, I'm sorry about yesterday. TechForge Solutions hired me. Zella burst into theatrical applause. Senior IT consultant position. My shoulders relaxed. That's wonderful, son. When do you start? Monday, he said too quickly. Salary is $65,000 to start. Something nagged at me. The timing was too convenient. This calls for a barbecue, I announced, trying to push aside my doubts. Terry, you can help me outside in a few minutes. Actually, I need to grab something from upstairs first, Terry said, moving toward the staircase. Just some papers from the job interview. I walked to the kitchen doorway, watching Terry climb the stairs. I needed a moment to process the sudden good news. I grabbed my backpack from the floor. I'd left it there when I came in. That's when I saw it. Terry, halfway up the stairs, stopped and glanced back at me. He thought I wasn't looking. He was holding something small and dark in his hand. He quickly reached into my backpack, which was open from when I'd rummaged for my keys, and dropped the item inside. He then continued up the stairs, humming a tune, a forced, cheerful performance. He glanced down again, a triumphant, almost conspiratorial smile on his face, as if he'd pulled off a simple trick. Then he disappeared into his room. I waited 5 seconds. My mind raced. What was that? An engineer's mind hates inconsistencies. The fake job, the immediate need for $2,000, the secretive gesture, and now a foreign object in my bag. I had a sickening realization. This wasn't about an overdue loan. I quickly walked to the floor where my backpack lay. I reached inside the outer pocket where he'd reached. My fingers closed around something small, cold, and heavy. I pulled it out, a small, clear plastic baggie. Inside was a white, crystalline substance. Cocaine. The truth hit me like a physical blow. The money wasn't for rent or medical bills or a wedding. It was for this. And his plan? To use my backpack, my work persona, my car to transport it. A desperate, criminal act using his own father as an unwitting mule. He was setting me up. I didn't hesitate. The time for tough love was over. This was a crisis. I calmly walked to the staircase. I could hear Terry rustling around in his room. I opened his bedroom door a crack and saw his dirty laundry basket. I took the small baggie, and with a swift, silent motion, I dropped it deep into the basket, under a pile of t-shirts, and quietly closed his door. I walked back downstairs, my heart pounding with a cold, clear determination. Terry, I called. I'm heading out to the garage now. Charcoal's calling my name. I heard a startled, coming, Dad, from upstairs. I went out to the garage, started the charcoal grill, and took out my phone. I dialed the only number I knew could deal with this. 30 minutes later, as the smell of burning charcoal filled the backyard and Zella was bringing out the potato salad, I heard the sound that shattered the suburban peace. Sirens. 2 police cars, lights flashing silently, pulled into my driveway. 2 officers in uniform approached the backyard. Mr. Reynolds? The lead officer asked. We received an anonymous tip regarding drug possession at this residence. We have a search warrant. Terry, standing next to me by the grill, went white. His eyes instantly darted to my backpack, which was now nowhere in sight, as I'd moved it to the trunk of my car after setting the grill. He stammered, "Dad, what is this?" "I don't know, son," I said, my voice steady. "I really don't know." Zella, clutching the potato salad bowl, was speechless. "We need to come inside, Mr. Reynolds," the officer stated. I led them through the house. Terry followed, shaking. The officers began a methodical search of the living room and kitchen. Terry was desperate. He had to assume they hadn't found the drugs yet. He had to figure out where I'd moved my backpack. Where did you put your bag, Dad?" he whispered, panicked. "My work bag? It's where I usually keep it when I barbecue, son. Now calm down." One of the officers headed toward the stairs. Terry's face twisted in fear, knowing the drugs weren't in my bag, and knowing where they were. The officer returned moments later, holding the small baggie. "Found this in a laundry basket in the upstairs bedroom." Terry looked at me, a mixture of betrayal and horror flooding his eyes. "Dad, you won't believe what happened next." I didn't let him finish. I looked at the officer and then at my son and said, "Officer, that's my son, Terry Reynolds. I think he can explain exactly how that ended up in his laundry basket." Zella dropped the potato salad. The ceramic bowl shattered on the floor. Terry was speechless. The officer was already placing him in handcuffs. Justice had finally arrived. I nodded, heading out to the patio. The grill waited under its black cover. Terry disappeared upstairs to fetch those interview papers. Through the kitchen window, I saw him. Terry stood near my navy blue work backpack, his movements furtive. He reached into his pocket and dropped something small wrapped in dark tissue paper deep inside my bag. He zipped it closed, his hands brushing his jeans as if wiping away evidence. "Dad, how are those coals coming along?" Terry's voice was bright. "I needed time. I think I left my work gloves in the garage. Mind getting them?" Terry's smile flickered. "Sure thing, Dad." He headed back inside, walking right past the backpack without a glance. The performance was flawless. I seized the moment, heart hammering. I unzipped my backpack. My fingers found the foreign object, wrapped in tissue paper. I unwrapped it carefully. It was a massive diamond ring, easily worth $15,000 to $20,000. My breath caught. This wasn't a thank you gift. Where did Terry get this? Why hide it in my bag? The water shut off upstairs. Terry would be down any moment. The ring felt hot in my palm, evidence of a betrayal I couldn't yet process. I thought of yesterday's desperate plea for $2,000. In a moment of instinct, I slipped the ring into my pocket and quickly repacked the backpack. I was not going to face this blindfolded. I headed upstairs, the ring feeling like a lead weight. I passed the family photos, now seeing them as evidence of a life I'd misunderstood. Terry's bedroom door was ajar. I pushed the door open, the silence of the room broken only by the smell of Zella's perfume. I went straight to the dresser. I chose the middle drawer, the sock drawer. My hands moved quickly. I pulled out a stack of clothing and nestled the ring, still wrapped in its tissue paper, deep beneath their socks and underwear. If Terry could put things in my bag without permission, I could return the favor. I closed the drawer, leaving everything undisturbed. "Dad, these are looking perfect out here." Terry's voice was loud with feigned enthusiasm from the patio. He had no idea his plan had just been derailed. I grabbed a bottle of steak sauce from the pantry as my excuse for being inside. I stepped back onto the patio just as multiple car doors slammed in front of the house. 3 uniformed officers, led by Officer Brooks, appeared through the side gate. "Police, nobody moves." Terry's casual smile vanished, replaced by cold anticipation. "Who's here?" I asked. Terry immediately pointed at me, his finger steady and sure. "Officer, that's him. I saw the ring in his backpack." Zella dropped the salad bowl. Lettuce scattered across the patio. "We received a report about stolen jewelry," Officer Brooks stated. Terry stepped forward, his cooperation too eager, too practiced. "Yes, ma'am. I found evidence in my father's possession." A diamond ring from the jewelry store robbery downtown yesterday. Yesterday, while he was job interviewing. The pieces clicked. He was using me, the honest, hard-working father, as the mule and the fall guy. Sir, we need you to step away from the grill, Officer Brooks directed. Terry walked beside the officers toward the house, discussing the evidence with suspicious familiarity. As we neared the back door, I caught Terry's reflection in the window. The mask of the concerned son slipped, revealing a calculating satisfaction. Inside, Officer Brooks methodically spread the contents of my backpack across the coffee table. Terry, radiating confidence, pointed. It should be in the front pocket wrapped in tissue paper. I saw him putting it there this afternoon. The officer found the front pocket empty of anything but work supplies. Terry's jaw tightened. He frantically pointed to the main compartment. No, wait. I think I put it deep inside. Look under the gloves. Nothing. The officer looked at Terry, then at me. Your son seems very certain about the location of this item, Mr. Reynolds. Terry was hyperventilating. He started checking the backpack himself, tearing through the pockets, his desperate search exposing his lie to the officers. I spoke calmly. Officer, if my son is this certain that there's stolen property in this house, maybe you should follow up on the original anonymous tip and search the whole residence. Terry's head snapped up. No, Dad, you don't have to do that. It's not here. With all due respect, sir, we have a warrant for the residence based on the tip, Officer Brooks stated, already signaling one of her partners. Search the upstairs bedrooms. The tip mentioned a secondary hiding place. The officer returned moments later, holding the small bundle of tissue paper. Found this, Officer Brooks, in the master bedroom dresser, wrapped in clothing. Terry looked at me, his face collapsing. He knew I had found the ring and deliberately moved it. Dad, why? I looked at my son, then at Officer Brooks. Officer, I said, my voice steady and cold. I think my son can explain exactly why he would try to frame his own father for a robbery. Terry's hands were already being cuffed. Justice had finally arrived. What do you think was the immediate aftermath for Terry and Zella after the police left? And what long-term consequences will Terry face for his attempt to frame his father? It has to be there. Terry's voice was desperate, but Officer Brooks found my backpack empty. His confidence shattered. Officer, I said, my voice quiet but steady. Maybe you should check my son's dresser drawer. Terry whirled, protesting frantically. But Officer Brooks and her partner were already moving. In Terry's bedroom, Officer Martinez found the small tissue paper bundle deep inside the middle drawer. The $18,500 diamond ring emerged, its facets catching the light. Terry Harlan, you're under arrest for filing a false police report and possession of stolen property. Zella's sobs filled the hallway. Terry's confession hung in the air. The ring was in his bag. I put it there myself. I watched 30 years of fatherhood dissolve into handcuffs and accusations. After the police left, I collected the scattered contents of my backpack. The police documents spread across my kitchen table confirmed my darkest suspicions. Terry's gambling debts totaled $23,000. The job interview was his alibi for the robbery. The celebration dinner and the hidden ring were all choreographed to frame me. An act of calculated deception to inherit my house and retirement savings. Her tears and shock were part of the act, an alibi for Terry. My neighbor, Seal, a retired police officer, arrived, coffee in hand. He examined the evidence. This looks like a sophisticated frame-up. Your son knew exactly how to manipulate the evidence. He confirmed my intuition. My move had saved me from a felony conviction. He would have inherited everything if I'd gone to prison, I said. Seal's counsel was practical. Let's get you to a lawyer, Ray. Time to start thinking about your future instead of their betrayal. I testified in court. My words were clear and factual. I saw my son place a stolen ring in my backpack to frame me for robbery. Security footage from the jewelry store played, showing Terry's face during the robbery, corresponding exactly with his claimed job interview time. Terry's final shout, "Dad, you don't understand. I was desperate. The gambling debts. The gavel echoed the finality. As Terry was led away in shackles, his appeal in my direction met with my steady refusal to respond. "How do you feel?" Seal asked me outside the courthouse. "Like I just buried my son," I answered honestly. But this time it was his choice to die. Moving boxes lined the hallway. I sold the house where 30 years of fatherhood had dissolved into betrayal. Zella intercepted me on the way out, carrying a single suitcase. "Ray, please reconsider. I have nowhere to go. Terry made me do it." "You should have considered consequences before betraying me," I replied calmly. "You had choices, Zella. You chose poorly." My new life awaited. The keys to a one-bedroom apartment in Denver with a mountain view were in my hand. Seal offered a final handshake, a bond of trust unbroken. I walked through the empty house one final time, then got into my pickup truck, equipped with new Colorado license plates. Zella stood on the sidewalk, watching as I backed out of the driveway. Interstate signs pointed toward Denver. I chose my own well-being over an obligation to those who had forsaken me. Survival meant choosing my own future. That final stretch of road, heading west toward the Colorado mountains, truly marks the start of your new life. You've closed the door on 30 years of enabling and betrayal, and you've chosen yourself. The drive symbolizes the final, decisive action in a long, painful process. By leaving Omaha, you are severing the last geographical ties to the chaos and financial drain caused by Terry and Zella. The Harley-Davidson, the retirement money, the years of stress, all were the price of a love that was mistaken for a blank check. Now, you've secured justice and, more importantly, self-preservation. Your final act as a father wasn't paying a debt. It was the tough love of ensuring Terry faced the consequences of his criminal choices, a lesson his mother, Martha, wanted him to learn. The 5-year prison sentence, while heartbreaking, is a chance for Terry to finally start over without his father's resources. A hard-won opportunity for genuine reform. At 58, you're not just moving. You're re-engineering your life. You've shed the heaviest burden, the guilt you felt over Terry's irresponsibility and Martha's death. You now know that you did everything you could, and ultimately Terry made his own choices. Colorado offers a clean slate. With your engineer's mind, a reliable pickup, and a stable financial foundation protected from Terry's scheme. You have the freedom to pursue interests, potentially volunteering, fishing, or simply enjoying the quiet of the mountains, activities you sacrificed for years. As you reflected, sometimes the greatest act of love is the refusal to enable those who would destroy you. You proved to be the smarter, stronger man, not by being able to give everything, but by being able to take back control. You've traded the broken foundation of your old family life for the solid promise of the mountains. What are you most looking forward to doing first in Denver? If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of the story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right. Thank you for watching.